Good morning, everyone. Did you know that on our nation's roadways, teenagers are at the highest risk of being involved in a fatal crash? Daniel Bacchus reports on a new study showing that risk appears to be dropping.
Teenagers were behind the wheel of these two pickup trucks when they crashed in Oklahoma 10 months ago. Police say one truck swerved into the other, leading to a collision that killed a passenger. Crashes with young drivers are common, but new data shows signs of improvement. The study from the Governor's Highway Safety Association found fatal accidents involving drivers under 21 dropped 38% from 2002 to 2021. At the same time, deadly crashes among drivers 21 and older rose 8%.
We were very surprised.
Pam Shadle-Fisher authored the report.
We are absolutely encouraged by it, and we think we've been doing the right things to get there.
Fisher says a major reason for the drop is changes to how teens get a license.
Many states now have graduated driver's license laws. They restrict teens from driving at certain times alone, like late at night. They also can limit how many other young people are in the car without an adult. Some laws ban teens from using electronic devices while driving, even hands-free. Another possible factor, many teens are waiting to get a license. Earlier this year, we talked to Catherine Franklin, who waited until she was 18.
I really was not interested in driving. I didn't really enjoy the idea of it.
The goal we're trying to get to is zero, plain and simple. We don't want any young person to be injured or killed in a crash.
Fisher believes more driving education programs and an expansion of graduated licenses can put young people on the road to fewer traffic deaths. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
It's National Bullying Prevention Month, and about 1 in every 5 U.S. students between the ages of 12 and 18 said they've been bullied in a 2019 nationwide survey by National Center for Education Statistics. The effects of bullying may continue into adulthood, and health experts say prevention is critical. Mandy Gaither has some advice from a therapist on how to raise a child not to be a bully.
It can impact every part of a person's life. Being bullied as a child can leave lasting scars.
It can make some kids feel depressed, hopeless, even suicidal.
Parents and caregivers play a big role in bullying prevention, says licensed therapist Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program.
No child plans or wants to be a bully. And so we have to think about what it is that's going on.
Baumstein says prevention starts at home by creating a safe environment where children can talk about their feelings.
We don't want kids to start to internalize things, push things down, suck it up, because it's going to come out at some point. It's going to come out in other ways. It could come out at other people.
Empathy is also a key component. Baumstein says to teach kids early how to think about others and how their behavior may impact someone else.
You can do this with play. And when you're playing with puppets or dolls or anything else, get them to think about what the other characters or dolls might be experiencing. Or if you're reading a book, stop and pause and ask them, what do you think that character is feeling?
Baumstein says to also teach coping skills to help children navigate their feelings so they don't come out in other ways.
That could be everything from deep breathing to using physical activity and movement to release stress, to being creative, drawing, coloring.
And finally, teach by example.
We can't expect kids to do something that we ourselves are not doing.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A new coronavirus vaccine from scientists connected to Duke University is showing early promise. Michael Perchik reports.
It's never too early to start work on providing protection for future outbreaks.
We know from looking at history that coronavirus outbreaks occur about every 7 to 9 years.
Dr. Kevin Saunders is Associate Director of the Duke Human Vaccine Institute. His team created a trivalent vaccine targeting MERS coronavirus and 2 forms of SARS coronavirus.
What we're trying to do is predict what will be the next coronavirus. If it's a SARS-related virus, then we want to have antibodies that are able to recognize multiple SARS-related viruses. If it's a MERS-related virus, then we want to have antibodies that can recognize multiple MERS coronaviruses.
It's taken about 3 years to get to this point, and the work is far from finished. But initial results in mice are promising, and the overall development of a platform allows for future adaptability.
The same technology that we can use to broaden the response against these 3 coronaviruses that we know are human pathogens, we can use that same technology to make it broader or to apply it to other coronaviruses. So if there's other viruses that come in the future, we use the same platform, the same technology, and then we can modify the vaccine to be effective against other pathogens that may come along.
That's important, as the form of a future coronavirus outbreak is unknown.
Where we are trying to develop a vaccine where you would be immunized with this vaccine and would have protection against multiple different coronaviruses, and that you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about the coronavirus that's coming in the future because you would have broad immunity against multiple different coronaviruses.
A vaccine using similar technology to this one is slated to undergo clinical trials next year, which could provide valuable insight into how this could work in humans. All of this research being conducted as North Carolina is reporting a decrease in the percent of emergency department visits for respiratory virus and COVID-like illness, as well as hospital admissions in the past week.
More than 71 million Americans get Social Security and supplemental security income benefits. Starting in 2024, those recipients are going to see a new cost of living adjustment. Cole Higgins explains the impact.
Seniors who receive Social Security benefits are going to see a smaller bump in their checks in 2024. 3.2%, the Social Security Administration announced last week. That's smaller than the inflation-fueled increases seniors saw over the last 2 years.
3.2% is literally better than nothing. We would prefer that it was higher, of course.
In 2023, the cost of living adjustment was 8.7%, which was the largest in more than 40 years. Starting in January, retirees' monthly payments are expected to be an average of $1,907, an increase of $59. Shannon Benton, the executive director with the Senior Citizens League, an advocacy group, says the inflation gauge is based on price changes for urban wage earners and clerical workers rather than the spending habits of seniors.
In a recent survey by the Senior Citizens League, 80% of participants said that they think Congress should beef up inflation protection by providing a cost of living adjustment that more accurately reflects their spending habits.
Many elderly Americans are worried these benefits won't cover their basic living expenses.
We used to be able to say, well, you know, if you can't afford beef, we'll get chicken. If you can't afford chicken, you can get pork. But right now, everything is a lot higher than it was several years ago.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
A search for lost property leads one woman to the vineyards of California.
In the vineyards of North
ahead on Mid-Morning. Earpods are so great, yet so tiny and easy to misplace. But one woman, a CBS producer, was determined to find her missing earpod and made a new friend in the process.
In the vineyards of Northern California, winemaker Aaron Robinson is immersed in a career he loves.
Really well-drained soils, so the vines really struggle and create incredible fruit.
About 50 miles south,
Good morning.
in the San Francisco office of CBS News.
You're not getting to the money. You don't know. She has to know.
But hold on. No. Producer Chris Weiker's passion for storytelling is always evident.
I think you need you talking to her, and that's the one place where it actually works. So let's put that back in.
All right, we can put it back in.
And this is Wednesday, an inquisitive little puppy who brought us all together on this beautiful rustic hilltop.
Hi, it's my pal. Yes, it's so good to see you again. Well, I guess we do have to do a toast.
Yeah.
So we're toasting Wednesday for the earbud recovery. Otherwise, I would have had to explain to my son, who gave it to me for Christmas.
To Wednesday saving Christmas.
Just wait until you hear how the three of us and our four-legged pal all came to this newfound friendship. So over the summer, Chris lost an earbud, something to which many of us can relate. So she spent the next 10 days looking for it.
And then day after day, I kept looking. I figured, okay, I looked under the seat of the car. I figured this thing is going to show up.
She asked the building security guard, Calvin, if anyone had turned it in.
Why would you think somebody's going to turn an earbud into the front desk in San Francisco where things get stolen all the time?
No, they would, because, I mean, you know, it's San Francisco and we revere tech, right?
Finally, speaking of tech, she used the Find My app on her iPhone. It alerted to a remote location in Napa Valley, more than 40 miles from where she last saw the AirPod. That's when her tenacity kicked in. She headed out alone to track down that earbud. Chris retraced the trip with me. Most people don't drive to the addresses because most people might think it was stolen, and most people might think they might get, I don't know, shot.
I've knocked on a lot of doors in a lot of strange places.
Yeah, fair. For more than 40 years, my friend, the fearless award-winning producer, has covered every kind of story, from natural disasters to global conflicts and presidential elections.
Wednesday.
On the day that earbud disappeared, Aaron Robinson was in the city. He had walked Wednesday before driving back home to wine country. Unbeknownst to him at the time, his little pup picked up the AirPod and dropped it in his car. Fast forward, Robinson is in his field when Weicker drives up to the gate unannounced.
She said, "Do you have my AirPod?" I was like, "Your AirPod? Oh, yes, I do have your AirPod. I do actually have it." I said, "Do you want to come up?"
So I said, no, I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, sure. She's like, "I'll wait here." You know what I mean? With that hair, I'll wait here.
You probably never thought that somebody would actually show up looking for it.
No, you got to have a lot of perseverance to come all the way out here.
Let me tell you about my dear colleague and friend. This lady is like Wednesday on a bone. She ain't letting up, okay?
It's what we do for a living.
Yeah.
And you know, we're given these impossible equations, and you can't give up. It sort of bleeds over into your personal life too.
This woman has proven to me time and time again that when I thought we ought to just pack it in and go home, just try one more thing.
That's amazing.
It is a friendship forged in fire and frank conversations.
It's over. It's gone on for too long.
It looks fantastic.
Yes.
I'll tell you, her passion and persistence has always inspired me.
They all cleaned up just fine with a little rubbing alcohol.
Do you still use it today?
Yes, I have them right here. This is where it all began here. And there is a little tooth mark we were noticing.
So we toasted to our newfound friendship and bond over an AirPod with a bottle of his Vandella Vineyards.
It's really good.
And Chris brought treats for Wednesday to reward her for not crunching on that Christmas present. And the takeaway is, when you think that you've reached the end of the road, keep going.
Exactly.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I learned it from you.
Well, here.
Many, many times over.
To Chris and David.
Here.
And Wednesday!
And Wednesday.
All right, coming up, Light the Fire, a restaurant that serves from the grill, next on Mid-Morning. Welcome back. If you love to cook over an open grill, you will probably love the food at One Chicago Steakhouse. Almost everything there is prepared over an open flame, creating a unique experience and a one-of-a-kind flavor. Chef and owner John Mannion learned the method growing up in South America. Meg Oliver has more from her visit.
This is like a stage, this is the set, and when somebody walks in, they don't know what they're walking into, and they see this, they come around the corner. It is a holy moment.
At El Che Steakhouse in Chicago, that holy moment starts with a vision of flames on a 12-foot traditional Argentine grill.
So basically, we light a fire back there, we make charcoal, and we cook. That's it. There's no gas line on that line. We cook everything over embers or over charcoal. A little beef fat on the tartare bread.
The master of the menu is chef and owner John Mannion,
Tartare's 4 pieces.
who likes to brag 90% of the food is grilled over live fire. Like this signature steak dish, a 32-ounce dry-aged ribeye cap served with charred knob onions, chimichurri, and salsa criolla.
Why do you call it the party steak?
It was completely a knee-jerk. The first time that we did this, we put it on a plate, and I was like, that's a party. That's a party steak. It looks like it's going to be a big kind of chewy flank or skirt steak, but it is pure ribeye with all the intermuscular fat.
Melt in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect.
There's definitely a fun vibe here. You can't ignore like the Latin influence. There's not a lot of other steakhouses where you're gonna have empanadas, but also like this beautiful grilled seafood that we sort of specialize in.
Oh my goodness. Like grilled lobster with diavolo butter, pickled shallots, and scallion. Grilled oysters with smoked onion aioli, bacon, and topped with chips.
Potato chips.
Yeah, potato chips, crumbled up potato chips. I'm a Midwestern kid, you know.
Also on the table, a bone-in prime ribeye.
There's something very Midwestern about a big dumb piece of meat sitting in front of you.
Would you like a piece?
I would love a piece. Pastured and then grain finished. Dry aged for about 42 days. Grilled over charcoal, treated with the utmost respect, finished with what we call beef whip.
So good. So tender. Melts in your mouth.
Just as delicious, shrimp with scallion lime aioli and salsa matcha, and beef fat fries.
This is like the heady days of yore with McDonald's, where they used to fry their fries in suet. This is that.
And for dessert, a classic flan.
So next course, 1 Delaware oyster, a little bit of rendered bacon.
Mannion opened El Che Steakhouse, which translates into the dude, to create an experience for diners reminiscent of his childhood.
When you're back here cooking in front of this fire, what kind of memories do you remember about growing up and your trips to South America?
I mean, it's not just South America, right? It's like, it's summertime. It's like Weber grills in the backyard. It's weenies. It's everything. Cooking over fire is so universal and primal. It's all of that.
A Midwesterner at heart, Mannion was born in Detroit, but his family moved to Brazil when he was 8 years old. An intense culture shock that instantly made a lasting impression on his taste buds.
The first day when I was feeling overwhelmed, we went to the pool. It was a hotel in the middle of the city, and they had a steak sandwich. It was a beautiful, like, crusty roll. It was ribeye. It couldn't have been anything else. And my dad and I split it, and honestly, when I took a bite, I knew it was going to be okay. You know, it was like,
You remember that as an 8-year-old?
I remember that to this day.
The family immersed themselves in the culture and celebrated the food.
The thing that sticks with me the most, and what changed for our family, I believe, is that food became so central to our life. You know, at dinner, it was what's for lunch. At lunch, it was what's for dinner. Breakfast is for amateurs. And that's how we lived our lives. It was always around the table. We ate together every night. So that sense of community, that sense of like sharing food really became fully ingrained in who I am as a human being. So this, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this up here.
But years later, when they returned to the States, Mannion graduated from college and started working in public relations.
I remember going home and talking to my dad, and he was like, man, this is not you. What do you want to do with your life? And I always kind of knew that I wanted to be in the restaurant business. So right then and there, I decided this is what I'm going to do.
So he enrolled in culinary school, and after working in the industry, started traveling to Argentina, where he fell in love with open fire cooking.
What did you discover when you were on those long trips?
My mind was blown by this method of cooking. Grilling is religion in Argentina. It is community, and there, grilling is community. Grilling is life.
Keeping with the Latin theme, Mannion switched to an exclusively South American wine list when they reopened after the pandemic.
And what is this?
We poured the Zuccardi Concreto, which is a Malbec that is aged in just concrete. Picks up no oak. It's just a pure expression of the soil, the growing conditions, and then the grape itself.
Everything in the restaurant tells a story from his travels, from the tapestries and guitar on the wall to the bullhorn over the hearth.
What inspires you in the kitchen when you're grilling?
I mean, my inspiration now comes from a lot of different places. It comes from memories. It comes from traveling now. There's something about just lighting a fire and cooking food over it. There's no safety net. There's no gadget. There's nothing that's going to help you. I think that oftentimes we ignore these skills that we had forever for convenience. This is the hard way. This is the absolute hardest way to cook in this restaurant, but we love it.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Meg Oliver, Chicago.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. A brand new haunted house in Valencia, California is ready to horrify its guests, but Amanda Starantino shows us it is also bringing people back to work.
If you dare to walk through Grizzly Gardens here in Valencia, there are tons of people behind this project who have been out of work, who are just eager to get those creative juices flowing once again. And they're willing to show you and even scare you with what they got.
No work to be done and no normal paycheck has been a haunting reality for film and TV industry professionals.
I've been out of work for almost 8 months. I'm a single father trying to get a kid through college, and it's hard.
Mike Burrell has been a prop maker for almost 3 decades. In that time, he has never been out of work for this long.
It was never like this, ever.
until he got a call 5 weeks ago to build a haunted house.
They didn't think we could do it, but people don't realize in the studios we always make the deadline. All you have to do is point a finger, give us a crayon picture, give us a picture of what you think, a cartoon, and we'll build it.
And so he and his team built 40,000 square feet of walls, making a quarter-mile long, terrifying maze called Grizzly Gardens.
Let's build something that's never been done before, right? That could never normally happen. If they were working and we were working, this could never happen. And everybody raised their hands and said, let's do it.
Scott Niner owns Dangling Carrot Creative. It's been in this Valencia location for 10 years, doing film and television graphics.
We've been suffering as everybody else has. I've had to lay off about 34 employees when the strike happened.
To get everyone working again, he turned his business into this haunted house.
It felt good to get out of bed early in the morning and have a reason to go to work every day.
Grizzly Gardens has 60 people behind it, a production teams, prop makers, and actors. Studios even stepped up to donate a lot of the supplies and tools needed to make the haunts happen.
It's the life work of people that have been doing this for the last 30 to 40 years. It's the work that we do. It's what we do for a living.
But perfectly horrifying at the same time?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite props right here that I had to build. This is a trap picture. There's a picture on the other side of this. So when people are looking in that picture, ah!
In Valencia, I'm Amanda Starrentino, KCAL News.
All right, we'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, stay connected with us. You can find us on social media. You can send us an email. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.